Let's do this. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Big Freakin Health Coach Podcast, Season 2 premiere. Whoop, whoop. I'm Big Freakin Neil, and I'm joined, of course, as always, except for the last Season 1 wrap up that I did all by myself, my business partner, buddy, brain twin, health coach Cain.
What's up, big guy? It's good to be back.
What's up, buddy? It is great to be back. I wonder if you can detect any conceivable trace of difference in my energy levels between now and the last time we did this. What do you think?
Your eyes are open.
My eyes are fully open. Yeah.
And I'm not worried about having to puppet you for the second half of the episode after you fall on sleep.
Dude, I cannot even describe to you. It's hard to even explain the difference I feel as a human. Like, I feel like a completely different person. It's wild. It is wild, man.
Well, then let's just dive right in. Tell us a little bit more about that. First of all, how'd the show go?
Yes. Yeah, man. So, pretty good result. I took first place in pretty good result. I took first. I won the novice class for Classic Physique B. And then I had also entered the open for Classic Physique B and placed third, which ended up being the biggest division of the event. I think there were like 15 other guys. So it was absolutely stacked. So to place top 3 in that big of a class, which such awesome athletes, everyone looked amazing. I'm really happy about that too. So yeah, man, obviously awesome. I'm stoked to take away the first place because that you're always going to win. You're always going for first. So I'm stoked to have a first place finish under my belt. But equally excited to have placed so well with such steep competition.
Because that's one of the only
as well.
That's one of the only ones going on right now due to COVID stuff too. So like the entries there were so much more numerous and so much more accomplished than typically would join into one contest like that.
It ended up being a huge show, which normally it's on the smaller side, but you're right. I think so many competitors' shows got canceled leading up to it that it ended up being everyone's fallback show because it's also the last one in the Northwest area for the year. Yeah. So it was sort of like everyone's last opportunity to compete in 2020. Mm-hmm. So it just ended up being massive. I will say though, huge shout out to Craig Productions and also the venue, which was Revolution Concert House, I believe, because they did a great job. We ended up dividing the show into sessions. So everything was done in 3-hour increments. So they only had like 3 classes in the building at a time competing, and then only the spectators that were there for those athletes. So at the end of each session, everyone had to leave. That's how they kept it under the 50-person capacity rule. And they did a great job sticking to those guidelines. I think they did awesome. So huge shout out to them as well, because they did a great job trying to keep everybody as safe as possible, despite what's going on in the world right now. So yeah, man. Yeah, they were. That's good. They were awesome. That's great for sure. And so speaking of,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, how you feeling since? Like you get to eat a little more, you get to feel a pump again.
Yes.
Like
I am
camper transitioning back. I'm sure we'll follow up.
Happy camper. So what I did was I basically took the rest of the weekend off to enjoy as much of whatever I wanted. And I definitely enjoyed it. Especially since Sunday was the day that we were driving back. So all of the like road trip foods was a great cheat, made for a great cheat day on Sunday for sure. And then as of Monday, I am back to it. Not, obviously not right back to my prep diet. That wouldn't make any sense, but I'm gradually adding back in calories, gradually increasing carbohydrates. Right now I'm roughly eating maintenance, technically a hair below, just because being in a deficit for so long, your body's going to down regulate a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm eating at what I believe to be my maintenance currently, factoring that in, and I will gradually increase my caloric intake. Basically, I'm reverse dieting. Yeah. I'll gradually increase my caloric intake by about 100 calories a week or 200 calories every 2 weeks. And just sort of see how my body weight levels off. You get a pretty big water rebound when you do take 2 full days to eat whatever you want, like I did. And that's because you're so dry and dehydrated the day of the show that your body is going to grab that sodium, those carbs, and all that water, and your body's just going to hold on to it as much as it can because it's been starved of that for the past several hours. So, and past several weeks, really. So you do get a little bit of a rebound, but I can say now we're recording this on Thursday. So since being sort of back on track for 4 days, I'm pretty leveled out today, pretty balanced. Nice. Body weight is up, obviously, because of glycogen and just being hydrated. So I'm still a good shot above what I weighed in at, but nothing astronomical and not holding as much water either. So we're starting to get back to a good, healthy balance at this point. It just takes time. It's a weird transition. Yeah.
And I mean, the hormones that go with that stuff have to upregulate and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it takes some time and a little bit of attention. You can't just go swinging right back to a powerlifting diet 4 days after a show.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Here, I can actually share my screen here.
Do it. Let's see this.
So this will only benefit the people that are watching the video. But if you are listening to the audio only, then feel free to head over to our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Check out our YouTube channel check out
YouTube channel
at Big Freakin Neil on Instagram, because I'm sure these are up there too.
Yeah, not yet, but I will be posting some of them today.
There we go.
I literally just got these in a matter of hours ago. And can you see that?
Yep.
Can you see that on your screen, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. All right, so here's a couple shots. I'll just show a couple. Back double by. I'm really happy with how the legs came in. Yeah, the legs were the last thing to come in leading up to the show. They're where I tend to hold the most water and body fat. So they were the last thing to really, really get sharp, but I'm happy with how they turned out. Happy with my back as well. And let's see, couple more here. Here's my, this is a side try. It's not a mandatory in Classic Physique, but it's what I chose as my favorite pose, non-muscular.
I can see why.
It's a solid pose for me for sure. Yeah, so there's my side try. There. Okay. And then I'll show you guys one more good one here.
Again, if you're on the podcast right now, check out the YouTube video or at Big Freakin Neil on Instagram, because this is worth looking at.
And then here's,
dang, dude.
This was This is a very Arnold Schwarzenegger pose. This was part of my solo routine. Guys, I'll also be getting a professionally shot video of my solo routine at some point, which I'll also be posting for sure. So you guys can check that as well. Keep an eye out for it. You can really see the leg separation on this one for sure.
Is this why you asked me about calves the other day? Calf envy here?
Yeah.
Insane.
I know. The calves were also one of the last things to really pop out. Definitely going to work on adding some size to them, but I'm happy with the shape that I ended up with for sure.
Nice.
Okay.
Very, very cool.
And then the last one, just because it's a fun one. This was my grand finale at the end of my posing routine. Little classic. I don't know who that was. Arnold? I think Arnold did that one. Frank Zane, maybe. Yeah. So yeah, guys, feel free to check out my Instagram, Big Freakin Neil. I'll be posting those over the rest of the week and leading into next week as well. So check that out for sure. And yeah, if you are listening to the audio, head over to our YouTube channel and you'll be able to see what I just was pulling up for Alex there.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, man.
Good. I'm glad you did well. I'm glad it was fun. I'm especially glad that they handled regulations well for what ended up being a pretty huge event.
Yeah, man. The COVID stuff has been wild. It's been blowing up again. And
oh yeah,
you know a lot about that right now.
I do.
So guys, there's a reason why we're doing this call over Zoom. Why don't you go ahead and fill everybody in on that, buddy?
Because I am technically just getting out of quarantine today. I tested positive last Monday. I started getting symptoms on Monday. I went and got the test done. And like I get a sinus infection pretty much every time the seasons change. I have horrible sinuses. And I was like 99% sure that's all it was. But I was like, I don't feel very good. I'm going to cancel all my sessions. I'm going to go get tested just to be sure. And then we can tick that thing off and nope, definitely tested positive. And so I haven't seen a client in person in the last 2 weeks. I spent most of last week sleeping.
That's wild, man.
My wife and I were very, very lucky. We ended up with really mild symptoms, some pretty intense body aches for a couple days, really bad sinuses and congestion, headaches, that kind of thing, but never really had a fever and didn't get any of the worst flu-like symptoms and never had any problems breathing.
That's good.
We did lose and still haven't completely regained our senses of smell and taste, which is bizarre, man. I mean, like you're sitting on the couch and you're like, man, you know what sounds good is like chicken noodle soup and it's going to feel amazing, but it just tastes like warm liquid.
Oh, that is so horrible.
There's nothing in it. Just like, oh my God.
That sounds like obviously the severe life-threatening symptoms are worse, but of the other stuff, that just sounds like the worst part of the whole thing. Not being able to taste food, like that just sounds awful.
You can't really enjoy anything. On the bright side, I mean, not being able to taste your food.
Yeah,
you don't snack the entire time you're laid up for 2 weeks. Like we haven't really snacked on anything.
Yeah, it makes total sense. What's the point?
Yeah, like there's no temptation because you're like, oh, these gummy bears taste like hard gelatin. Awesome. Really fun stuff. Dude.
So bless his heart, Alex didn't tell me that he'd contracted COVID. I think probably to not add to my plate being in the middle of peak week. But damn, dude, it was very alarming to come back to that text message that you had COVID. I'm really glad that you guys are good and that there's nothing really to worry about for you guys at this point. But yeah, it's wild.
Really careful too, man. I mean, I do train out of a small gym in downtown Seattle, but they have been 100% on the up and up with their regulations for that kind of thing. 0 clients are sick. They're all tested negative. So it doesn't seem likely that I got it from there. We moved the Thursday before I started showing symptoms.
Okay.
into a county that was exploding with this stuff. So I don't think it was the movers, but I'm pretty sure that just going around running moving day errands, you move into a new place. Oh, we need this, we need that. We go to Target real quick and probably got it doing that, even though we were masked up and hand sanitized and all that kind of stuff. Like, it is no joke out there.
Yeah. I mean, all it really takes is, you touch one thing, scratch your nose without thinking about it. Boom, you got it. So yeah, man, again, I'm just glad that you guys are all safe and that you're good now. Too. But
we're very lucky that it wasn't worse. I mean, there are people our age and younger that get it and it's life-threatening or ending, and that's just ridiculous. Yeah. And we're very fortunate. So very thankful people over here.
Well, glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear it. Also really glad to hear none of your clients ended up with it and that everybody's good. So yeah. So how bored have you been being back in quarantine after having just a little bit of freedom?
Dude, pretty bored. I mean, like one of the few things that the excessive amounts of fatigue were good for is just sleeping straight through days. Cause like we got cable for the first time since I was in high school.
Nice, man.
So we've been able to watch like football.
That's awesome.
Comedy Central and some movie channels, and we have on demand. So that's been helping.
That was pretty good timing on your part.
Yeah, like really. And then, I mean, it just, of all the times to get it, it was really fortunate. It was right after we moved. We have 2 dogs too. Yeah. And if we were still in our apartment downtown, we lived in a high rise in downtown Seattle. We had to walk our dogs for them to go out. Right. And if you're in quarantine, you cannot do that. So we just would have had to figure something out for our dogs. And we just moved to a house. We have a yard. So it was really easy. Just let them out and let them back in. Nice. Didn't have to break quarantine. Nice. So super lucky.
It's awesome, dude. It's awesome. Of all the outcomes of contracting the coronavirus, it sounds like the ideal situation for sure.
Yeah, we scored big time.
That's good. Good for you guys. I'm glad to hear it. Well, mainly today we wanted to give you guys an update on what's been going on in each of our lives. And we also have a sort of mini topic to go over and give you guys some advice on. And that is moving into the holidays now. We are exactly 2 weeks out from Thanksgiving, dude. Can you believe that?
I can't, man. It happened so fast.
It really did. I remember, I mean, obviously I've been in prep mode, so I haven't been thinking about much else, but sort of the second I came out of that bubble, it's like, oh, Thanksgiving's 2 weeks from now. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. It's like, that's from cool. The time of recording this, 2 weeks to the day.
2 weeks exactly. Yeah.
And like, yeah, dude, I don't think anybody's ready for it this year. So we thought it would be a good idea if we kind of laid out a couple guidelines on how to stay on track. Yeah. I know COVID or no COVID, there are going to be a lot of people who are still traveling and spending time with family. For sure. And you may not be 100% in control of the food options that are available to you. So yeah, we just wanted to walk through a little bit of how to not lose your progress. Yeah. We also, exactly. We also want to touch on, the holidays don't have to be the time when you completely go off the rails and ruin all of your fitness goals, and you can definitely stay on track. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself. Yeah. And shouldn't mean that you're not enjoying yourself, because the holidays are a great time. Obviously this year's a little different, but they're a great time to enjoy your family and enjoy family traditions. And oftentimes those traditions involve food that would not normally be on your weight loss plan. And that doesn't mean you should completely go cold turkey and not enjoy your slice of pumpkin pie, because if you've been working your butt off all year, honestly, it's a good reward as long as you're not going way over the top. So what do you think, buddy? That's one of those things where it's important to realize that a couple slices of pumpkin pie isn't going to make you unhealthy, just the same way a couple of salads wouldn't instantly make you healthy.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Yeah. Just like you're not going to lose body fat like that overnight. You're also not going to just magically gain it back overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. A prime example would be, the 2 days off that I took, had a little bit more than a couple slices of pumpkin pie, let's say, and woke up with veins in my abs this morning. So there is no reason why one day of not perfect dieting is going to derail your results. And honestly, with the science behind, scheduling refeed days and things like that, it might even help you, might even give you a little metabolic boost. So
yeah, for sure.
What do you think? Where do we want to start with this as far as advice for people?
I think the best place to start is plan around your favorites.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to say, hey, you should focus on the protein and cut out the carbs. But the thing is, I love stuffing. I'm going to eat stuffing.
Yes.
All right. So I think it's important to lead with those things so you can scratch the itch real quick.
Uh-huh.
And while you're satiated with that little scratching of the itch, you can pound a bunch of the protein stuff, all the veggies and the things that are going to actually fill you up so that you don't go looking for seconds.
I like that strategy. I think most people would tell you the reverse, like load up on the protein and veggies first to try to fill you up ahead of time. But that what the danger of that is, you're right. You're going to load up your plate with stuffing when you're not yet satisfied. You haven't yet scratched that itch because all you've been eating is white meat, turkey, and vegetables. You're still going to go way overboard. You're going to go, okay, I did the thing. I ate the protein. Now I have free reign of this, and I'm going to have 3 plates of it. So,
and like you're going to eat it, you're going to eat a ton of it. And now you're eating it on top of a bunch of other calories already.
Yes.
So it can actually really ruin your chance to stay close to maintenance calories.
Yeah.
By saving it up for later. Yep.
I'm going to say great strategy. So I'm going to say another good strategy is to plan the first part of your day, account for the large amount of calories you're going to be consuming later in the day. Don't wake up Thanksgiving morning and say, oh, it's Thanksgiving. This is the day when I just eat all day long. Eat light all day, don't fast. Don't starve yourself all day.
You don't want to be starving by the time you show up.
Exactly. But eat smaller meals more frequently leading up to the big meal, just to sort of keep you satiated so that you're not starving when you sit down to dinner. But stuff that's just going to be lower in calories, just eat light during the day. That way you're going to have a huge calorie budget banked up when you do hit that meal, and you won't, swing so far off track. The other thing I like to do for clients is limit by number of plates. So I have a couple clients, being somebody who trains competitive powerlifters,
kids,
bodybuilders. What's that?
They can eat.
Yeah, exactly. So appetite is not an issue with that type of client. Especially if they are, they've been going through a phase where they're dropping weight and they're ready to pound some food. Their appetites are not going to be super self-regulating. Like, they're going to be able to keep eating long after they've had plenty of calories to really scratch that itch. Yeah. So I'll say, don't have more than 2 plates, which, if we're talking, just a normal sized dinner plate, and we're talking an even layer. We're not talking about a 4-layer plate. Yes. I'll specify that too. So layer your plate in 1 layer of what you want, and don't have more than 2 plates. That way it's going to be very hard to fit 5,000 calories on a single layered, on 2 single layered plates, honestly.
Well, and it gives you a chance to make some choices. Like maybe you do give up a little bit of your protein or veggie for a little more stuffing or mashed potato. It's Thanksgiving. That's fine. You can make up your protein tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like it'll be okay.
Exactly.
I think that's a great strategy too. And I think it really, any of these strategies come down to planning ahead. Having a game plan when you walk in is really important to not just winging it and going overboard. Yeah,
I agree. I think that's a really solid sort of outline for your nutrition. Another thing that I would say is plan a good workout for that day. Yeah. You know, if your gym is closed or you're not going to the gym, plan a solid workout you're going to do at home for earlier in the day. And then everything about your body's response to that meal is just going to be better across the board if you've crushed a workout, you know, an hour or a couple hours before. Absolutely. I think to finish, we should just give people a few ideas for that. So let's assume they're not going to make it to the gym. What are some things that they can do at home in 2 weeks, Thanksgiving Day, that will prime their bodies for glycogen storage so that all the carbs they're about to eat are going to go to the right places, and to just torch a few calories before they have that big calorie dump in that one meal?
I would probably say off the top of my head, for working with just body weight, a 3 or 4 exercise circuit. Yeah. And you do it as many times as you can in 20 minutes. Yep. And I would probably do something like, if you can jump comfortably, I'd do a squat jump at the top. Yeah. Because I'd want to get that heart rate up. I want to get you burning some calories. Yeah. I would have a push-up variation, a lunge variation, and hopefully a row variation as well. Nice. And I would say do 30 seconds of everything, as many reps as you can with good form. Rest for a minute and repeat. And that should take you, I don't know, 4 times through. I love that. I love capping it at a certain time and just saying as many rounds as possible, as opposed to saying you got to do these 8 different exercises, 3 sets of each. That way, you know you're going to have time for it. You know, at some point, even though it's Thanksgiving Day, you're busy. Maybe you're in charge of some of the cooking. You've got some prep work to do. You've got family coming into town. Even with all of those things in mind, you're going to have 20 minutes to carve out of your day, even if it just means waking up 20 minutes earlier. And you know, with that type of workout, as a rule, it's not going to take you longer than that. So you can set your pace, do as much work as you can in that 20-minute window, and then not be chasing the clock trying to get through 10 different things because you feel like you have to, basically. So I love it, man. I try to keep those short because things often happen that you weren't expecting on holidays as well. The plans always change at the last minute. And if you know when your workout's going to fit, that's great. I also recommend taking a walk or something after you've eaten your 2 plates of food. Yeah. Just get some blood flowing, get your digestion going. Perfect. Burn a couple calories, but nothing crazy. Yeah. You know, and I think that's a pretty solid, low key plan to staying on track. It's also a great opportunity to spend some quality time with a family member in a safe way. After dinner, hey, Auntie Jay, let's head outside and take a walk around the block and talk a little bit, mask up. And, you know, it's a responsible way to have some good family time while also burning, you know, 100, 200 calories of the dinner you had. So cool. I think those are some pretty solid strategies for Thanksgiving Day. What do you think? I think so. I think it's important not to overcomplicate it. Day's supposed to be fun, not stressful. Yeah. And that's the point I'll end on, guys, is make sure you enjoy it because, you know, remember that most people, what would you think? Like at least 95% of people are going to eat whatever the hell they want all day long. They're going to way overindulge. They're going to have at least 3,000-4,000 calories at that meal. And
the fact that you're even strategizing to minimize that, you're miles ahead of 95% of people. Like you are going to just being conscious of how much you're eating, it'll make a huge difference. It'll have a huge impact. So don't be too hard on yourself. It is just once a year. It is a holiday. It is a time to indulge a little bit. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
for sure.
All right, man.
All right. I think that's a pretty good game plan. It's really good to be back, Big Neil. I'm glad that your show went
back. Health coach Cain.
And I think this is going to be our format for a little bit, is doing this over Zoom.
I think so.
At least till cases in our area of COVID start coming down a bit.
Yeah.
And so we'll have more topics for you every week, just like last season. New stuff, actionable advice, things you can listen to on your way to your workout. This has been the Big Freakin' Health Coach podcast. If you got some value out of today, like, share, post that we're awesome everywhere you can. And
please do.
We'll be seeing you guys next week.
All right. See you next week, guys.